yo, it's your girl Tabitha. Welcome to another episode of Tab Talk. You know, Tab Talk, TED Talk, because I'm going to be on a TED Talk one day. Believe it. If you're a Naruto fan, you get it. If not, it's alright. So today we're going to have some cultivating conversations, right? Where we cultivate our communities through conversations. I feel like as a society, oftentimes we focus more on the things that separate us than the things that unite us. So I want to start by kind of bridging that gap and reducing some of that conflict and confusion by having conversations where we come to cultivate the type of community that we want to see or hope to see or imagine, you know? And yeah, just start to find each other through those connecting conversations. Today, I have a very special guest joining me, my significant other, Mufti, you know. So you guys give him a warm welcome.
How's it going, guys? You know what I'm saying? I'm Mufti. Thanks for having me, Miss Tabitha, you know what I'm saying, on your podcast or whatever.
You're welcome.
I'm honored. You know
Chocolate.
Well, what's up? What's up with today's conversation?
Well, first of all, I want to start by saying thank you for taking the time to be out here today. I know you got a lot of things going on. I know you're tired. But I really want to say thank you for all the support you've shown these last few, since we've been together, but in general, especially these last few weeks, months, since I didn't even decide to start this journey. They just shot the video. It was it's your first YouTube video. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But I'm somebody that, I'm sure you noticed this, or maybe you haven't, but I have a lot of ideas a lot of times, but I get stuck in the phase of the planning and the thinking.
No, for sure.
And sometimes I can think myself out of things. So for today's cultivating conversation, or cultivating communities through conversation, I really want to talk about relationships.
Okay.
That's been heavy on my mind. As a woman, not only as a Christian woman, but as a Black woman, as a young woman, I feel like I'm in a stage of my life where I'm preparing for marriage.
No, for sure.
And motherhood, although I'm already a mother, but I'm stepping in this new chapter of my life where that's becoming more of a thing, right?
Right.
And not only is it something that I desire, but I feel like it's my calling.
Okay.
And for a lot of young women in our 30s, as you're getting older, you're being reminded that the clock is counting down. You're trying to figure out, because we want the ring, but how do you get it?
Right.
And there are women today that are so desperate to get it that they're proposing to men.
Yeah.
I would never. But I want to kind of have conversations for us, because I feel like our brains work so differently.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times women talk to women about love and men talk to men about love. But oftentimes, we don't get to hear the other perspective, especially genuinely.
Yeah.
So we're left guessing, and sometimes that leads to disconnect.
Right.
So I really want the women to be able to hear a genuine man's perspective, and vice versa, so we can kind of understand.
Yeah.
Because our media and everything these days is giving us the wrong ideas.
No, for sure.
Of love. Does it even exist,
No, for sure. Yeah.
So I want to be able to have an open conversation. I want to know what love is from a man's perspective.
Yeah.
And how to find a good man. What do y'all think about?
No, for sure.
So yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of times, I feel like with today's society and how things are, it's I don't think that it matters. It's never been a topic of a conversation, because everything has been based, around a woman. You know what I'm saying? You hear even in churches and through social media, the conversation is happy wife, happy life. And for me, it's there's nothing wrong with happy life, happy wife, but then what about the man? You know what I mean? It's the man doesn't matter, and and that's one of the biggest problems that we have with love and marriages in relationships, because people always want to talk about it's one-sided. It's okay, what about me? What about how I feel? What about my likes, my needs, my wants? You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely excited to have this conversation, so I can break it down from a male's perspective, and at least how I think and what what I'm saying, how I feel when it comes to certain things. So yeah, let's have this conversation.
By the way, you're looking really good today.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah. But that's
shout out my mom and my dad. You know what I'm I'm saying?
Good genes, good genes.
Yeah. No, for sure.
No problem. That's actually so interesting that you said that.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea, like, that you guys think about that.
Yeah.
And
See,
that's...
go ahead. You know, I get to talking. I ain't trying to cut
We
you
both
off.
do. No,
Nah,
we
for
both do.
sure.
But that's like, and it makes sense because, like, since the last few years, since I've had conversations with, like, my father, my brothers, like, single men that are, like, acquaintances, right? And I've noticed that oftentimes men are overlooked, but they're required to do the most.
Exactly.
Like, when it comes to being a father.
Yeah.
But I never really...
Providing, protecting, you know what I'm saying?
And being emotionally available, all of these things.
Yeah.
But, like, as a woman, we're taught that, like, we're taught more to think about how to appeal to you guys through lust rather than love, if that makes sense. Like, we're taught to how to, like, like, do things for a man and, like, be available for him, and also, like, how to, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, how to attract him.
Yeah.
But we're not often taught, like, how to take care of a man.
And how to keep the man, you know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So, yeah, I mean, no, definitely. And I think that's what the problem is, you know. Of course, we want our woman to look good and be, you know, sexy for us and lustful for us, you know, when it's time for that. But then it's more of a, at least for me, you know, it's more of a mental thing. You know what I mean? Like how someone makes me feel, how you treat me. You know what I mean? And things of that nature. So it is important for men to not only for it to be physical in lust, but, you know, more of a mental stimulation too at times. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like to be mentally stimulated. And for me, I can only really speak for me, because I would assume every man is not the same, but for me, when I'm not mentally stimulated, it's like, it kind of like I pull back, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I look forward to having this conversation with you, you know, learning more about you and how I can be a more present partner.
Yeah.
That, like, it's creating not just because I desire a safe space in our relationship, but I also want to make sure it's important to me that I'm creating a safe space for you. Yeah. And rather than just guessing, I'm excited to, like, communicate about this, so you know, I can have that confidence and vice versa. Yeah. So that we know, like, we're going in the right direction, you know. No, for sure. Because relationships aren't like every size fits all. You got to figure out what works for you. So yeah, I'm excited about this. For sure. You can answer now, or we can try to remember, but we might forget. But you said mental stimulation is important to you, right?
Yeah, it's not all about lust, and it's not all about. It's, at least for me. Let me just speak for me, because I don't, you know, this new generation and things is different. But it's not all about, like, sex and stuff like that for me, or, you know, a woman cooking and cleaning, because I was brought up and raised. I know how to do all those things myself, so it's like, when it comes to, like, bringing certain things to the table, you know, when you have those type of conversations, especially when you get to know someone and stuff like that, and you have those type of conversations, it's all like the basics, surface level things. It's like, you know, what I bring to the table is, you know, they kind of lead with lust, you know what I mean? And then, you know, it's the cooking and the cleaning, and it's like, okay, I can cook and clean, so it's like, I can do those things myself, so I really don't need you for real. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, for me, it's a little. For me, I would need a little bit more than, you know, those things when it comes to that. When you have those type of conversations, I would need a lot more. You know.
Absolutely, and it infuriates me because I feel like the women who, like, especially when you hear those types of questions on the pop the balloon challenge. Oh yeah. It, like, the answers that some of the women give, like, it pisses me off so much. Yeah. Because how can you communicate the value of yourself if you don't understand the value of yourself? Yeah, right. Because, like, no, for sure. And that's something that, and also that comes with, like, maturity, right? Yeah. And, like, the things that I've been through the last few years with my daughter, as you know, and I will eventually share. Right. Had those things not happened, as much as they were painful and things, I realized that they prepared me for this stage that I'm in now with you and our children, but also the stage that I'm stepping into.
Right.
Because I'm a different type of mother now, right?
Yeah.
And I would not be as mature or as developed as I am now had those things not happened, right?
Yeah.
So yes, a woman can cook and clean and this, that, and the third, but something that I learned during like the times when, you know, you were door dashing and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you're gone and out the house. Like the man builds the home, but I feel like the woman really sets the foundation of the home. Because, and not only does the woman make a house a home, but things that I bring to the table that's not quantifiable, it's like the stability in our children. Right? You might teach your children to be strong, but I teach them when to be soft. I teach them how to communicate with their emotions. I teach them how to utilize and understand the power of their emotions, right? I give you peace of mind, being able to leave the home and do what you need to do, but know that your children are taken care of. Know that when you come home, whether it's 10 at night, 9 at night, they are well fed, they are dressed. You don't got to go out your way to, hey, why didn't you do this? That, like knowing that things will be handled at home while you're handling whatever you need to. Those are the foundational things that like women, those are what make us women. That's like our power. But we don't oftentimes, a lot of times, and in this day and age, like there's a lot of women who even resent being mothers. Because we're taught that like, oh, that's not a big accomplishment. Absolutely it is. You're literally creating the next foundation. I'm manifesting your dreams in our children. You feel me? Like we're planting the seeds, but I'm watering the garden. If I'm not pruning them, it's not growing the right way. You feel me? If I'm not giving them the right nutrients, things are going haywire. Then that puts more stress on you. Not only do you have to go out into society and deal with people who already don't know how to handle a black man. But now you come back home and you gotta work twice as hard to put back into order what should already be in order. And then still recharge emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally, and then go back tomorrow. Especially with the 12-hour shifts. Like that's a lot.
It's definitely a lot. I agree.
But yeah, I feel like, and mind you, the conversations, a lot of times now, I feel like those conversations are had to separate us. And it ends up being like a competitive thing. Well, I do this. Well, I do this. The point is, those two parts are supposed to come together to make whole. Like one is not complete without the other.
Exactly.
And they say like, you know, single father homes are more successful because they have like structure than like single mother homes. But like the strength is when both parents are present.
No, for sure.
Right? But even before we get to like the marriage standpoint, I really want to start this conversation at the beginning. Because I feel like on social media, there's a lot of couples who like give advice on like what a healthy marriage looks like, you know, and things like that. But I don't feel like we have enough conversations about what it looks like in a dating stage, the building stage. You feel me? Or even for those who want to get to that point. Right? So I really want to start there. Is there anything that you want to throw in there before I ask you my first question? Okay. So I would like to know, what was your first example of love, good or bad?
Well, everything starts at home. So my first example of love, like my first love was my mom. You know what I'm saying? Like the woman that gave birth to me. You know, it was my mother. It was my parents. You know what I mean? It started there, right? You know, whatever route it took. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it started home with my parents.
Okay, and are you comfortable going into detail about the route that it took, or? And certainly don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, if it don't really have nothing to do with the discussion, then you can save it for another time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. So same. My first example as well was my parents, and I was adopted at the age of 7, so I came to America. I was adopted by extended family.
You were adopted at the age of 7, so you came to America. So where do you come from?
Liberia.
Oh, okay.
LIB, not his house.
I know that, but you know, maybe somebody watching that don't know. So
yeah.
Sure
Liberia, we yell. We inside it. Anyways, but yeah, I came to America at the age of 7. I remember it was wintertime when I came. I saw snow for the first time. And my aunt actually sent me a picture of like when I first came, and I looked so tiny. But so I grew up with a mother figure that was like I remember us being very close, right? So I always had strong women in my life,
Yeah.
but like my mother and father's relationship was fractured.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have like I didn't spend as much time with him, and I wish that I wish I would have. And I feel like that really impacted my idea of love. Because had I grown up having my father as a role model and like my brothers, meeting them as I'm older and seeing the type of men that they are,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have pursued certain types of love that I did
No, for sure.
when I didn't know myself.
Okay.
But like when I was adopted, I came to a home where the father figure was loving, but he was submissive.
Right.
In a sense, right? So I grew up seeing like really dominant women that took over the homes. And that was my first example of what you would think would be love, but it didn't feel like love. Right? So we had the house that looked really pretty and things like that, but when you went inside it felt cold, it felt isolating.
Right.
Because there was such a disconnect between the parental figures and like the kids. And when the mother, and something else that I learned is like women have the power to bring people together or to separate them.
Right.
And I had a mother figure who, when she came around, we dispersed.
Right.
I went into my room, someone went into the basement. We just wanted to do anything but be there, right?
Right.
And when she wasn't present, my father and I, all the kids would be laughing, but as soon as she came, and I realized that I never wanted to be that type of woman.
No, for sure.
And my family is full of that. So like, as a man, right? How do you feel supported in a relationship?
Peace. You know what I mean? Just because, not to take away from like women and stuff like that, but as a man, like we go through just things, just dealing with the world, outside of home. You know what I'm saying? So when I come home, kind of like what you were saying earlier, when I come home, I don't want to have to worry about things when I'm home. You know what I'm saying? I just want peace, and I just want to be peace and respect. A lot of times you can be in a relationship and you hear the word I love you too, and things of that nature, but they're not respected. You know what I mean? So for me, I would peace and respect. I feel like with peace and respect, when someone is being your peace and your respect, there's some sense of love within that. Because when you're respected, you can love someone and still hurt them, right?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And so, but when you're respected, it's a little different. There's things that people wouldn't do, and they treat you different when it's respected. So for me, it's peace and respect. Just to answer that specific question.
Okay, so and that I have another question, right, in regards to that. So oftentimes we hear that that's what men desire most is respect, but how do I phrase this? How do you guys feel? Like, do you put as much consideration into respecting your partner as you want, or is the focus just on getting the respect?
I can't speak for other people, but for me it really just depends on the relationship that I have with my partner or with anybody for that matter. You know what I mean? My attitude and mood and things like that change when things change in the relationship and it goes on, like how that person made me feel.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times you can be in a situation and because they may think that they're doing something right or they may think that they're not doing something wrong, but there's a lot of wrong that another person that can be doing that they may not realize, you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's just I kind of like reciprocate like how I'm feeling. So it's like I treat people how they treat me at times.
Okay, so what does respect mean to you? Give me some examples. Like, when a man says he wants to be respected, what does that mean?
Just being my peace, treating me with respect as far as like how you make me feel. You know what I mean? Like you can be in a situation with someone and feel like crap. I'm about to cuss on this. But yeah, just how somebody makes me feel, how somebody loves me, how someone treats me. How like words are like affirmation, like how you make me feel, like how you encourage me, how you motivate me. You know what I'm saying? Like things like that are ways that I feel respected. I mean, I guess everybody can feel differently, but
And mind you, everyone's gonna have their own opinion and their own perspective and perceive it however.
right.
But with you being the guest and with the conversation between you and I, we can't interview every single person, right?
Yeah, so my answers are gonna just be based off of like how I feel and what I think. I can't really speak for all of them.
I understand.
Yeah.
And I'm coming into the conversation with that understanding.
No, for sure. Yeah.
So you may not be able to speak for other men, but there might be men who can relate to your perspective.
No, for sure.
So, you know.
Yeah.
But okay, so in a situation, let's say you're in a relationship and you know you desire respect, right? What if your partner feels disrespected? How should they handle that? Because if, for example, right, if your partner feels disrespected,
How would I handle it? Because I can't speak for them. I'm not.
how, with the idea of desire and respect, how would you think they should handle that?
Well, I definitely think they should communicate it, because if you're being disrespected but you're not speaking on it, and it's a problem for you and a build up for you, but the other person doesn't know, then that can be even a bigger problem. I definitely think that you should address whatever issue, you know what I'm saying, that you're having if you're feeling being disrespected. A lot of times people hold it in too. You know, even me, you know, just hold, because everybody is different, so you try to be considerate of feelings, you don't want to rub people the wrong way, you know what I'm saying, you try to avoid fights and arguments and things of that nature, but it has to come to a point where you have to be able to communicate with whoever it is that you're dealing with, relationship or not, you know what I'm saying. If you're being disrespected and you're feeling unease and things of that nature, then just try to figure out a way and the right time to talk to that person, and to let them know. And if they continue to disrespect you, then you should already know what to do from there. But that's how you handle it, I think. So it's just trying to communicate. That is I feel like the proper way of handling that type of situation. You know, you can't really be aggressive. Like aggression with aggression is not good. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important to be able to, you know, try your best to communicate with it. It's hard to communicate with. It can be hard to communicate with certain people too, because not everybody knows how to communicate and is willing to communicate. You know what I mean? Especially when people feel attacked and feel offended. You know what I mean? It'd be hard for them to communicate. And then you gotta understand too, a lot of people wasn't brought up in households or whatever taught to communicate, you know, effectively. You know what I mean? And so it's hard to deal with someone when they don't really know how to communicate. They weren't brought up in a household where there was communicating. Because like you said, you know, you were in a household where people going to different rooms and things like that. You know what I'm saying? So I think now today's time is different from like the 60s and the 70s, where you know, it was brought up on love. You know, you had parents and that were married, right? And you were brought up and taught how to treat a man and how to treat a woman. You were brought up on love. You were brought up on marriage. See, a lot of people want to be married in today's time, and it's like, and saying how they're gonna be the best wife and best husband when you didn't even have those examples. You weren't even taught and shown love properly, but you want all of these things, and it's cool to want these things, but I think that you should. A lot of people need to understand self and love self first, and to get help with whatever trauma and issues that they have. So when they get in these relationships, you know what I mean, that it can be healthy. You know, a lot of people come from broken homes and unhealthy households and wasn't brought and taught love properly, and they get in relationships and it's like they want love, but it's one thing to want love and then to actually, you know what I mean, be loved properly, and then to allow someone to love you and then you love someone. So yeah, you know.
Absolutely. And I want to point out something important that you said earlier about how you can't meet aggression with aggression.
Yeah.
Because that's something that, as a woman, personally, like I said, I come from like women-dominated environments and fields, and like my family is run by masculine women, right? And wanting different for myself, that's something that I had to realize, that like there were certain qualities and traits that I have that could push a man away or emasculate him. And I always told myself, I don't want a man who just lets me do whatever I want. Like if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. You feel me?
No, for sure.
But something that you said is like you can't meet aggression with aggression.
Yeah.
And again, not coming from healthy relationships or having healthy backgrounds in love, and whether it's good or bad, it can trigger you. Even if you want the best and it is the best, if someone gives you the best, the fact that you're not used to it, the fact that it's so unfamiliar, it triggers you because it forces you to grow. And growth is not comfortable by any means. Like the growing pains and feeling like you're inadequate or feeling like I'm not good at this or I don't know how to do this. Like that's such a conflicting feeling. Because it takes like humility as well to be able to.
It does, I agree.
Because my response, especially like for example, like if you answer me and I feel disrespected, it's like, okay, well, you know, like the instinct is to come back too. But having to like force yourself, like maturity, it's like having to lay down your arms. And I'm somebody who wasn't necessarily taught to communicate, but I saw conflict a lot. There's a lot of examples of conflict. But I had to learn, especially as a woman, part of being submissive is part of respecting sometimes is to not force the confrontation right then. If you're not in a space to communicate, or I'm not in a space where I can communicate properly, sometimes we might have to revisit that conversation at another day when we've cooled down. And it's okay to not force things to cause it to escalate and to come back to it later. But that was something that was hard for me to not only like learn and acknowledge, but also like to practice. Honestly speaking.
Nah, for sure. Same for me, and I'm still learning because, you know, just what, I'm not gonna go into detail as far as upbringing and stuff like that, but just how I was brought up, you know, my upbringing and stuff like that. It's like I had to be aggressive. I had to fight my whole life. All my life I had to fight. But as I get older and stuff like that, so, you know, a lot of the times that I catch myself, or like even dealing with you, like, you know, at times when I'm frustrated, you know what I'm saying? One thing that I can say about you is that you are emotionally mature. And there's not a lot of women that are emotionally mature. And it's dealing with somebody that's like you, it gives me that balance. Because if I was dealing with a woman that was like me, we always gonna clash. And those were my issues and problems that I had in the past, because there was no balance. It was like atomic bomb, boom, you know what I'm saying? And so even though it may be a struggle for you at times, or it may be a struggle for me at times, you know what I'm saying? But you learn, you know, through growth and circumstances, and as you get older, you mature, you know what I'm saying? It's like that balance is definitely needed, you know what I'm saying? And then when you're dealing with somebody that's emotionally mature, you know what I'm saying? It matures you in those areas too, because you're watching, at least you should be watching your partner, or somebody that you close to trust, or somebody that you're dealing with. You're watching how they move, you're watching how they handle things, and then you can you know, take little nuggets from, you know, that's, you know, that person and other people, and you know what I'm saying, to build yourself up, you know what I'm saying? So
absolutely. And mind you, we're having this conversation now, right? But by no means is our relationship or any relationship perfect, whether you've been married 10, 20 years, etc., etc. It takes a lot to get to the point of understanding. And really a lot of it is just like you don't know the other person. A lot of it is misinterpretation, misunderstanding, confusion.
Because a lot of times you go into situations trying to handle it like you've dealt like the past situations.
Absolutely.
And every situation is gonna be different. Not everybody is the same. So you gotta know how to communicate effectively. You gotta learn the person that you with. You know what I'm saying, and understand them. And that be the issue too. A lot of times where there's conflict and when things don't go someone's way, how they want it to go, is just over. You know, there's no fight. You know what I mean? And when you're just giving up on every situation, there's no room for growth. And so you just keep hopping into each situation and you get a pattern. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes some things you just gotta stick it out and see if it's worth fighting. Now if you just, you know, if things just ain't happening, it just ain't working, then common sense to tell you that you should get out of that situation because it's not healthy. But you can't go into every situation thinking that it's gonna be peaches and cream, because you're dealing with two different personalities, especially like when there's different upbringings like us, cultural differences like us, and I'm just saying us, but I'm just people around the world just in general, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna take some patience, you know what I mean, and different things like that, especially when you're dealing with two different personalities. I don't think people talk about that enough too. When you know, because not only are there dominant men, there's dominant women as well, and so when you ain't no poop butt, ain't nobody gonna get pushed around. You know what I'm saying? And so when you're dealing with that, and then a lot of times it's easier for somebody to just say, "Forget it, I'm done." You know what I mean? Instead of just getting to know the person, and just over time, you learn the person, and you get to know them, and you know how to deal with them. You know what I mean? You learn what triggers them. You learn how to calm them down and comfort them and nurture them in a way and love them in a way that they need to be loved. Because not everybody is loved the same. You know what I mean? Not everybody is different. You know what I'm saying? So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is so important. Oh, before I get into that, I want to say that earlier we had talked about how if there is disrespect, addressing it, right?
Yeah.
And not just necessarily disrespect, but if you feel like there is something going on in your relationship that is hindering you from showing up as your best self, bring that up. Bring that up. And it might be uncomfortable because for me, conversations will go around in a loop in my head, right? And I'll have to practice it and it'll feel like I'll have to tweak it, etc., etc. But like, and something that I learned about my man, he's told me, like, I don't like small talk. So I'm over here planning out the conversation, and by the time I get it out, it's like, oh, why didn't you just say that? Or he just like, oh, okay, I get it. And it's like, oh my, I feel so relieved because like I wasn't anticipating it going that easy. But like one of the most important, communicate.
It's communication is super.
It's
duper
key for real.
For sure. And not only communication, being able to like comprehend and understanding as well. And communicate in effective ways, you know, because every communication can be different, you know what I'm saying? And listening is important too, but in whatever way that you can communicate and get through any relationship, not just you know, your significant other, you know what I'm saying, your companion, but just relationships with your kids, because not everybody knows how to communicate, or that's so, you know, I don't know if some people communicate through a text message. So if you know that that's who you're dealing with, the type of person that you're dealing with, and you can't sit down and have a conversation with them, because sometimes people, it takes, what I've learned is a lot of people, it don't really register, it doesn't hit them right then and there in the moment. A lot of people, you have to sit on it and internalize it, like, you know what I mean? So, you know, whatever, you just gotta find what works for you, you know what I mean? Because not everybody's communication is the same, so that's where the understanding comes in, understanding who you're dealing with, your partner, your children, your co-workers, whoever it is that you're having communication problems with. Like, learn who you're dealing with so you can communicate with them effectively, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because how you communicate with the kids is, you may not be able to communicate with me in that type of way, or your coworker, or your mom, or your brother, or your dad, you know what I mean? So
and like you said, people process things differently, but also like their brains, like their learning style learns differently. So part of being an effective communicator is like learning that and utilizing it. Because I used to be quick to send a novel. Like, I gotta tell you how I feel now so I can get it off my chest, right? But a lot of times, not everybody's gonna sit and read it, or they might interpret it with an attitude when you didn't mean that, and it might end up escalating things. But I will say, like, for relationships in general, whether friendships, co-work, whatever it is, if it's something serious, have a conversation in person.
Yeah.
Have the conversation in person. Don't send it through text.
Yeah, because there's no emotion through a text.
Or it could be the wrong emotion.
Yeah, and it can be, it'll be easy. It's easy for people to take things the wrong way. You may have not meant it in the wrong way, meant no harm at all. Very positive, but when somebody reading it, they're like, what? Huh? They got me messed up. And the whole time, you know, your reaction can cause a real problem because you thinking it was this when it really wasn't that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if face-to-face conversation is not an option, for example, if it's not something you want to prolong or you're not seeing, whatever it is.
Find a video on YouTube or social media that pertains to what it is that how you trying to communicate and send it to that person. You can do that.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's 2026. FaceTime them.
Yeah.
That's the next best. If you can't do face-to-face, FaceTime, and then third option, voice call.
Because that counseling, I think a lot of people do counseling.
Individual, yeah,
like get some counseling. Like if you can't talk to the person, get counseling for yourself, and then once you can get it for yourself and you going through the motions by yourself, then try to whoever. Like if you're in a relationship, then y'all can do couples counseling and stuff like that. But get some type of counseling work and find someone that you can talk to so you can have that relief. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That release and you know.
And even if you're not in a relationship, like if you've been through something significant in life, for me, I had a traumatic childhood, but like, that's just a way of like recalibrating yourself.
No, facts.
Because you might have learned some habits that you thought were healthy, that were coping mechanisms, that don't translate into the new environment that you're in now.
Right.
For example, like, I grew up in an environment where words were used as weapons, right? So I learned to defend myself and to attack.
Right.
So when I was in environments like, let's say I'm meeting you, and you might just be talking to me, and you might just ask me a question, but I'm interpreting it as, what are you really trying to say? Because that's how my family operates. And I know if I'm with them, I gotta be on my toes, because that don't really mean what they say to me. I gotta figure out what did they, you know what I mean? But I had to learn that everybody don't move like that. Everybody is not my family. And I'm standing looking for, you know, on defense and but it's like, nah, it's cool. It's cool. Especially with my partner in my relationship, like we're on the same team. You're not attacking me.
You gotta constantly like have them conversations with yourself. Like, no, this is not the enemy. You know, we're on the same team because everybody is so defensive, and I get it. You know, especially in today's world and how things are, you have to be on defense. You really gotta be on point, head on swivel for real, because you just never know. And then people have like these ugly motives, like these bad motives, and you really can't trust a lot of people nowadays. So when you find somebody that is solid, somebody that is real and trustworthy, you know what I'm saying, keep them, because there's not really a lot of people out here that you can really trust.
Absolutely. You know absolutely. And that's why I think this conversation is also so important. Because there are so many people that you can, but like, love, especially genuine love and like building, it requires taking a leap of faith. It requires a risk. Like, it's a gamble regardless, right?
Oh, for sure.
And you're not going to get the full benefit or reward if you don't make the full investment.
Right.
But choosing the right partner
is important.
And you got to give each other grace, because nobody's perfect at first, you know.
For sure,
especially if you didn't come from it or you're not used to it. We're all learning through it. But like, learning the qualities of a person who's worth investing in is the first flipping step, and like the most important.
Take your time and get to know them. Like, everybody want instant gratification. Like, everybody is such in a rush. Like, for me, it's like I feel like for us, I should say, we're playing a long game. You know, you got to take your time because people are great at acting. You know what I mean? Like, really take your time. Let me say this. Take your time to get to know someone, because and really get to know them. And I feel like you shouldn't be as free and open with somebody that you just met, because you can really, because what happens is you share so much information. You can be dealing with a piece of crap person, but you don't share so much information. So they know your weaknesses. They know how vulnerable you is. They know everything because you shared it with them. So of course they know exactly what to do, how to talk to you, to will you in. And then next thing you know, a couple months later, you seeing who they really are. You know what I'm saying? So really get to know the person. Take your time. You know what I mean? And get to know that person and really build a solid, strong foundation. And I feel like, you know, for those that do believe in a higher power, that do believe in God, you should make God like the center of your life in relationships, because I feel like, you know, when you have that type of leadership and guidance, you know, as far as with God, you know, your relationship would be solid. You know, a lot of us be trying to do things on our own and we don't have to, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I kind of like, when I'm going through things, good, the bad, and the ugly, you know what I'm saying? I kind of like just turn to God. That's just for me, you know what I'm saying?
Same.
So yeah. There
are some days where I'm like, whether I'm driving the car by myself or God, I'm not mature enough for this.
No, for sure.
God, this is too much. This is too much. I know what I'm supposed to do, but I ain't got it right now. Holla at me tomorrow. Yeah. Let's try again. Today I ain't got it.
No, for sure.
I really want to know from your perspective, how do you show love?
It depends on who I'm dealing with, because the way I show love and the way I love a significant other is different from how I love my kids, and it's different from how I love, you know, and so forth. So and then on top of that too, for me, I'm still learning how to love and what love is, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't come from it, you know what I mean? Just circumstances and upbringings and stuff like that. So I didn't really come from love and affection. I'm really learning it as an adult, like in my 30s, you know what I'm saying? I ain't even coming on here and trying to think of something fancy. Like I'm really learning this, you know what I'm saying? So, and every day, and more importantly, just learning to love myself, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm still learning.
So what I'm hearing is that you're still learning how you show up in relationships?
I show my love and my affection is just being there, you know what I'm saying? Trying to communicate effectively. You know, I try to, give people respect, you know what I mean? I try to be supportive as I can. You know, I'm really hard. Again, like I'm learning how to love my babies. I'm learning how to like love the woman that I'm in a relationship with. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning these things now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm hard. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm really hard for real. You know what I'm saying? But I have a heart though. You know what I'm saying? My question to you is, how do you feel? Or how do you think I show love? Like, what is it that you love about me?
Some things that I love about you.
For sure, let me
know. Let me toot your horn a little bit.
Sure.
But not even just to toot your horn, but to build you up. Because I do want you to know like how much you mean to me.
Nah, for sure.
I love your commitment. You have a really, really kind heart, right? And I've noticed, because I've been in relationships with people where I've made the mistake of oversharing myself or granting access.
Right.
Because the idea is that if I want to be in love in the right ways, I have to, you know?
Nah, for
but
sure.
Giving myself to people who didn't earn it.
Yeah, they didn't deserve it.
Yes, and I learned to recognize a man who values me.
Nah, for sure.
The difference between being wanted and valued, right? Yeah. Because I feel like there's men who encounter me and they knew that there was potential, they knew that I was a good woman because I cooked, all the things that I
want
do.
You, but they can want you because the lustful thoughts leave.
But that's
they
what I'm
look
saying.
Good to them, but they won't value you.
Or I make them feel good because I'm bringing food, I'm doing this, I'm telling them they look, you know.
Yeah.
But like, I learned the difference between a man who values you and a man who wants you, because they might just want you around, like you said, physically.
Yeah.
But I love how committed you are. The type of father that you are. One of the first conversations we connected talking about not only love and relationships and like God, but like our children. And we were talking about our children, like the things we loved about our children.
Yeah.
But seeing us go from the stage of like, when you were like consistently out working, right?
Yeah.
Like, no matter how tired you were when you came in the house, you always did something to tend to me or the children.
For sure.
Like, no matter how exhausted you are, you still think about us.
Yeah.
Right?
All the time.
And that's something that, again, is new for me.
Yeah.
But, like, seeing how dedicated you are, whether it's making, you know, noodles or whatever, and I can tell, and I've learned to read you, like, when you're tired, it's not, you won't always say, oh, I'm so tired. But, like, I've learned how you move when you're tired. How, you know, your shoulders hang, or, like, your voice changes, you sound, you know what I mean?
For sure.
I've learned to read those things, and there's times where, first of all, knowing that you woke up early and you were out till nighttime, I know you're tired.
For sure.
And if you're on the road like that, I know you're not eating like that.
Yeah.
But you'll still come in the house and you might not have the energy to smile or whatever. But you'll still, even something like watching movies. Like, you might fall asleep.
All the time.
But you try.
All
You
the time.
try to spend that quality time.
Yeah.
And just that effort, right?
Yeah.
To me, it's so important. Those are one of the ways that you know, like, someone is really there for you.
For sure.
Recently with the podcast and the content creating thing, right? Like, you believed in my dreams.
For sure.
Like, whatever idea I brought to you, you brought it back to me or did something, or you, like, there was some way that you reminded me that you were still thinking about me. Or you still have plans for me in the future.
Yeah.
You included me in your plans in the future. Like,
For sure.
I never had a question, even before we, like, committed our relationship, right? I never had a question that I meant something to you.
Right.